This is the Collective Podcasting Agreement. I am your host, Juan T, and this is Iced Out.
I think we gotta ice you out.
All white, that's the ice out. Burnt orange, you know what they bout. Squad deep when we rollin' out. They be jealous, they ain't got it now. Got the competition sweating. 5-on-2 when we reppin'. On the field acting reckless. And I'm the one that send a message. Ayy, I'm KD in the clutch. Woo! Ricky Williams with the rush. Ayy, Vince Young for the win. I ain't gonna get touched. Look, ain't no time to cut the slack, boy. This the year we coming back. You should go and check the stats. We the judgment that you labs. Cause you were devastated, we were dominated. Elevated to another zone like beast mode activated. Which is indicated you can try and take it, but you never had it. Now to be dramatic, I've been going man. It put you in a panic. We were designated to make it when all the pressure was weighted. And all the people was hating on every single game, every single match. I'm just giving facts, better get that. When I rap, it's a rap, we adapt. No matter circumstances, bet against us, don't take the chances. No peace treaty, no olive branches. Yeah, we already big, but it's time for massive. We established, we the flagship on 40 acres with all the talent. You're not a challenge, cause we legit. Ice cold, just like the FIP. All white, that's the ice out. Burnt orange, you know what it bout. Squad deep when we running out. They be jealous, they ain't got it now. Got the competition sweating. 5-1-2, but we reppin'. On the field acting reckless. And I'm the one that send a message. Hey, I'm Mac Brown with the schemes.
Want a T on the beat. What's happening? That was not me on the beat, I'm not gonna lie. What's happening? Oh man, another week under our belt. Another week of football down. Week 2 complete. We just got our first one on the season. Hand claps, applause, high fives, back slaps, knuck your neighbor, dap up your mom's, whatever you do to celebrate, do it, because we got to win, guys. Wins win. As Tom Herman said in his press conference, winning's tough. You know, it's a hard thing to win, and clearly it's hard for us to win, but we got a dub, even though it's Tulsa and it wasn't pretty, but dub's a dub. So gonna run through the show. We're going all over the place today. We're going to go through the highlights and my thoughts of this game, pros and cons, my takeaways, other games from this week, and then into some other things and into next week. So, before I go any further, this is September 11th. I'm doing this podcast, so I want to take a minute to say I've had family members that were affected directly from the attacks that happened many years ago, but keep this day always in remembrance. If you know somebody who's affected, or even if you don't, take a few minutes out of your day today. Most of you might hear this on the 12th, but it's a day that I remember as a kid, but take the time just to say a few prayers for those who this day just brings back dark memories for them every day. Now, on to greater things, as my dog is licking her butt. Hey, stop. Hey, dog. Hey, stop. She didn't stop. All right, so as we move forward, here's my thoughts on the game. We did there were some really, really great things. And I feel like with trend on Texas football, with every great thing, there is also a bad thing. Keontae Ingram, again, I said it last week. I'm going to say it this week. He is hurt going into USC, so I probably won't get to say it after USC. But Keontae Ingram should absolutely be our starting running back. Trey Watson should be our 2, just off of Herman logic alone. Herman logic will state you'll play the man with a hot hand. You'll play the man who has a statistical advantage over the teams week in and week out, and you're looking at Keontae Ingram, who is averaging more yards than anybody except for Daniel Young, who we won't get into because we'll get into Daniel Young later. But Keontae Ingram is averaging more than the starter with less carries. Give him the damn ball more and watch what he can do. Now, the part where I can say I'm upset, and I can't be that upset, is because outside of all of that, we still rushed for like 200 something damn yards. So it was really hard for me to get upset with Texas's running game when we ran our butt off and had 200 something yards rushing. But I can be picky because that's what I do best. I just get nitpicky and then angry. I get angry a lot. I have an anger problem, I think. Texas brings it out in me. Anyway, moving right along. The other great takeaway I want from this game, and I don't know if y'all have seen this highlight or not, but the PJ Lock stole that man's soul, literally bodied that dude on the field. It was a phenomenal hit. If I can, I'll look. I think I can post it on the Facebook page. For those who also don't know, the Collective Podcast Agreement, you can find us on Facebook at the Collective Podcasting Agreement. Just type us in the search and you'll find us. We're luckily the name's so long and unique, no one else has it, so you can't miss us. We are the only Collective Podcasting Agreement on Facebook. I will try to post that video later for y'all to see that one, but it is really good. One of the other big takeaways, I don't know the hell is going on with this team in the sense of play calling, mood. We're like a moody teenager. We really are. We're like when there's moments where we're just on top of the world and nothing can stop us, and then there's moments where we just kind of get back into this funk and play calling just gets vanilla and they're not trying, and it's pretty disgusting. So the game this weekend, the thing I've noticed when you look at the first quarter, if you rewatch the game, you take a look at the first quarter, we were unstoppable. In the first half, let me not get ahead of myself. In the first quarter, we were unstoppable. We were on our shit. And then, all of a sudden, starting in the second quarter, it's like I felt like Tim Beck's calling plays again. If I had to put money on anything, I know none of this to heart, but I would gamble to say that the first quarter was Tom Herman calling plays. And then everything else after that is Tim Beck calling plays. Because why? We had a 21-point lead. It's 21-0. Just, after the first, it was 14-0 after the first quarter. We're cool. Kick back. We ain't got to try that hard. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no point in putting up time and trying. We'll just let it go. We cool with that. We cool. And then all of a sudden it turned into a damn game. Coming out of halftime, the shit just got disgusting. I mean, absolutely disgusting. Our secondary, and this is the main thing that really bothers me. You know what? I'll wait. I'll get to that a little later in the show before I dig into that. But the slow start is the first thing. The fast start and slow finish was the main thing that bothered me. The one thing I'll say, and this is not good for Texas Longhorn fans, you're not going to enjoy what I'm about to say. We won, right, 28-21 against Tulsa. I'm going to let you know something. The score does not depict how bad we should have gotten our ass kicked in that game. And that's a story no one wants to talk about when you have a win. Nobody wants to talk about the what ifs. Everyone wants to talk about the what ifs when you almost win. Like if you were Tulsa, you're probably having the conversation I'm about to say. If you're UT last year for USC and every other close game, we're talking about the key little things that should have won us a game. When you look at how the game ended, right? Our defense, if we had to grade our defense on that game, an F. Our defense was horrendous. So bad, if you go back and rewatch that game, there were 2 end zone touchdowns that Tulsa dropped. Had our guy beat completely. Ball bounces off of both of their hands, 2 hands, and they drop it in the end zone. Twice that happened to Tulsa in the game. You're now talking about 2 touchdowns that Tulsa should have had, on top of the 3 missed field goals they already had. You give them 14 points in touchdowns, and you turn around now and give them 9 more points in field goals. They beat our ass. We, in theory, got our ass beat by Tulsa. The field goals, because they missed because they're a trash team and their kicker's trash. Halfway decent of a kicker, this game would be a lot different. And the 2 touchdowns would have absolutely shocked the shit out of Texas. And we're looking at a completely different game now. So, yeah, I am patting myself on the back and high-fiving and knucking my mom in celebratory celebration of the UT win. But at the same time, I like to look through all the polish and look under the hood to see what this car is made out of. And when you look at that game, you realize we have more problems than we thought we had. And this team is performing a much like it did the beginning of last season. And that's when we were all ready to pull our hair out and cry. Now, later on in the season, our defense figured its life out and our offense was our problem. Well, right now, we have kind of a Charlie Strong year 2 problem right now, where our defense in 2 games have stepped back. Our defense is not the same defense we ended last season with. Now, I've heard the rumors and I've heard the talks of people saying, well, Texas is a team that plays up to its competition. I hope that's the case. I don't hope it's the case in the sense that I want to be a team that's good and not have to give me a heart attack every fucking week. But you know what? I'm okay with the concept of us being that type of team if that's how we are all the time. But I'm going to tell you what, if we would have played a halfway decent team with the performance that we put out against Tulsa, we are now looking at an 0-2 Texas team going into the gauntlet stretch of games, starting with USC this weekend. So that has to get its shit fixed, because I just want... We are not going to be able to skate by many games with that performance that we had last night. Or Saturday, sorry. So I can't talk about all the negatives or any more negatives that I have on this game before talking about some positives. Actually, you know what? I'm on a negative roll. We're going to flip it. I like to do pros than cons. We're doing cons than pros because I like to end on a bright note. So the more negatives from this game, oh my God. So Sam Ehlinger is... I will give him props because there are bonehead mistakes that he didn't make a lot of in theory of his old boneheaded mistakes, like fumbles or bad throws, or he didn't do a lot of that in this game. So congrats. He found a new problem that I don't know if this was a problem from last year and I didn't pay attention enough during it, but it is becoming a problem this year and I hate him for it, where he is deciding to hold on to the ball a lot longer than need be in these read options. And it's kind of causing it times it's cool. And I know what he's looking for. He thinks if he holds that thing to the last possible second, he can yank the thing out and make a move. But I mean, you got to get to a point to where you're trusting your running back when you decide and make the call to hand it off. Or the problem is he needs to read this a lot faster and make his decision from then on when to pass the ball or hand the ball off. So that bothered the shit out of me, honestly, quite a bit. The other thing with this team, I am so over our play calling when calling screens. We, as a Texas team, cannot successfully run any screen where you're asking our wide receivers to block. Somebody on Reddit commented on my last show when I was giving a lot of praise to the wide receiving core, and they brought up a very interesting point. Although, yes, our wide receivers do a phenomenal job of catching and they do a phenomenal job on one-on-one coverage, they can't block for shit. And that's most of the time when you're watching a lot of our failed running plays, it's either our wide receivers fucking up or Andrew Beck or even Cade Brewer missing blocks that they really should be making. And if we can't get our wide receivers blocking, we're going to have a really long time and a really sad season, especially going into this gauntlet, because I don't know if you've been watching any of the other teams in this gauntlet that we're going to have to play against. But they look really good. They look really good. So that's one thing. The last negative I have here, and I touched on it earlier, and I'm going to probably keep touching on it until it gets fixed. Our secondary got ate up. And I know this game, we had a lot of freshmen playing in positions. Caden Stearns, for the record, will be a monster. Like the kid has great awareness and great athleticism, but again, he makes some freshman mistakes. BJ Foster, same deal. BJ Foster, nice interception as well with Caden Stern. There will be, again, we will be talking about these guys for quite some time moving forward in our Longhorn fandom and their career there. But right now, they we'll take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, which is better than 1 step forward and 2 steps back, right? You know the little song, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. All right, anyway. I will say it is great to see these guys' talent out there, but again, I can't wait for these guys to hurry up and mature, and I feel that way with a lot of this team. So with the secondary, getting our ass ate a lot in one-on-one coverages, they're not being able to catch up with the receivers, and Tulsa exposed that. And believe me when I tell you, Oklahoma is going to do that to us. USC, we'll talk about them a little later. But TCU is absolutely going to expose that as well as with Oklahoma, K-State as well. Man, there's a lot of teams, and the jet sweep has now become our Achilles heel. That's the other thing I'll bring up. The jet sweep just eats us the fuck alive all the time, man. It is now on tape that we can't handle it, and I hated hearing that from Todd Orlando. It was like, well, we worked on it, we game planned for it, and we were prepared for it, and that was versus Maryland. Well, okay, great. Now you need to always prepare for it, because when you prepared for it, it still didn't go the way you wanted it to. It ended really badly. Anytime somebody wants to get mad yards on this jet sweep, it'll work every time. And I bet you will see a jet sweep against USC. Why? Because we can't stop it. Can't stop the jet sweep. Oh, excuse me. So those things we really need to fix. The last con, and I know I said I had the last con earlier, and I keep going with more cons because this Texas team has a way of reminding me of all of its shortcomings. And I do this with myself in the mirror every morning, so I now get to do it to somebody else. I'm kidding. I'm not that sad and depressed. Gosh, guys, lighten up. No, where in the hell was our pass rush? Where the hell is Brecken, Madman, Hair on Fire, Hager? Where in the hell is Chris Nelson, Charles Omenihu? Where is everyone who's supposed to sack the fucking quarterback? We had none. I don't know if we had none. Actually, let me look before I put my foot in my mouth. But even if we had some, like, the fuck happened to everyone the fuck else? I'm looking this up right now. None. Goosehead. We had 0 sacks. We can't have that, guy. Like, that's the shit. If we are going to man up, and I get the concept of our defense, right? You pass rush and you man cover and you choke out routes, and you're basically trying to starve the oxygen from these receivers. And you want your quarterback to never have to sit. You want the quarterback to never have to sit still long enough to think through routes, because you have blitzes coming in his face. So if your DBs are choking out receivers and the D-line is rushing and causing pressure and making him throw error throws, now our DBs can react to these error throws and make picks and be in better position. Well, here's the problem. When your pass rush isn't working, now you just have one-on-one coverage with corners out there trying to keep up with this receiver who is now running his ass all over the field, which is what's happening, double moving, and these kids are young and don't know how to necessarily take the right angles on things, and we get a lot of exposed corners or safeties that are guarding receivers they can't cover and getting their shit ate. That's the entire Tulsa game when you start watching Tulsa waking up and deciding, okay, here's how we're going to play this now. They've realized that the pass rush wasn't there. We weren't getting through into the backfield, and now they're going to shine. Now, I get it. Tulsa has, I guess, good talent-ish. I won't hate on them, but damn. We can't get a pass. We can't get a sack against Tulsa. How are we supposed to go up against some of these better ranked teams in our division? Because we aren't that anymore. We're back to the middle of the tier team. Nobody wants to hear that and believe it. As a Longhorn fan, I don't want to believe it. But truth of the matter, we are a middle of the tier team. TCU's better than us. Oklahoma's better than us. Oklahoma State, to be determined. I don't know how they are now with fuckface gone. Hell is his name? Rudolph? Maynard Rudolph? What the hell? No. Fuck his name. You know who's gone. Whoever the fuck the quarterback is for Oklahoma State, he's out of here. With all of those that's gone, Oklahoma State might very well be. K-State's better than us in my opinion. There's a lot. Like we are right there with the Techs, and even Tech might be better than us too. Shit, we'll also TBD, but we aren't the top dog anymore. And I say all of that with all these negatives because the thing I want to stress to Longhorn fans, and I need the Longhorn fans to just hear these words, understand these words. This shit is going to take time. We have to give Tom Herman time. We can't Charlie Strong this guy and after 3 seasons be like, we off with his head. I get it that we weren't happy with Charlie at the end. I wasn't. There's some losses that I get it. They're unexcusable. You can't lose to teams we've never lost to before and be like, yeah, I'm cool with it. Like, we can't lose to Kansas and fucking Iowa State and just be, yeah, this is cool. I'm all right with it. That was unexcusable. But all that aside, this shit's going to take time. Give the man some time to fix these problems because we're still dealing, although a lot of these kids are talented that are in here. Do not get me wrong. Charlie Strong definitely brought in talented people. Think about this on a business level, a level, or like a real football level, right? Charlie Strong brought these guys in to fit a Charlie Strong style of defense and Charlie Strong style of offense. Tom isn't Charlie, so he is trying to make this player fit his scheme. This isn't his guy. When Tom can finally have a locker room loaded of his guys, now we can start making a judgment call on, is he good or is he bad, right? So just give him some time to cook this thing and make the dinner right, all right? Don't try to rush and eat raw meat. You'll get sick every time. So after now that I'm done bashing until I say something else and remind myself of something else that depresses me about Texas, the positives in this game was, again, said it last week. I'll probably say it next week and for the weeks to come until I'm proven wrong. Our offensive line and their pass blocking is getting so much better than it was last year, and I'm blown away by it. I am very, very impressed with the maturity that offensive line has now. Herb Hand, I don't know if this is Herb Hand or Hudson's doing, but either way, I don't know who's, or Calvin Anderson, I think is his name. Calvin Anderson, the transfer from Rice. I'm really bad with names. I'm sorry because I didn't have that prepared for his name. But anyway, it's something is causing it. I will default to coaching all day and say that it was Herb Hand's doing, but the blocking looks, we've gotten a lot better there. So I'm proud of that. The other thing is Sam Ehlinger running more. It's funny how this narrative is flipped. And I say it's funny because the narrative last season was we can't have Sam running the ball more than our running backs. We can't have our leading rusher be our quarterback. It just won't. We can't have it. We can't have it. And here we are in this season, and Sam's running the ball like a madman and doing great. No one has any problems now. Nobody's like, he's running too much. Like, no, we need him to run. Keep running. We were successful when you were running. Now you're fine with it. Okay, I see how you fickle people are. But I am fine with it. I am cool. I'm cool with Sam being the leading rusher. As long as we're getting over 100 yards rushing, I don't give a shit who's doing it and how you get there. Positive yards, running the ball, loads the box, allows you to open up for your pass game. That's what you want. Whoever carries the ball, don't give a shit. If the running backs can't do it, then don't. Now, I'll say we're now at a point to where I feel like every running back we have, it can just beast mode through this thing. Like Daniel Young, when he came in the game, that man came in pissed. He looked like he was pissed off. Ran that poor boy over from Tulsa. I wish he would have had I wish the Jumbotron was there. I don't think he was running towards it, but I wish it was up so you could see that guy behind him. So you just get a little high step right when he went for the shoelaces because that's all he needed, and he would have been gowned. I'd have loved for Danny Young to get a touchdown there, but that man is another one. He needs to get some more reps. Now, Keontae Ingram is injured, so he won't be in, so we might actually see more Daniel Young. And I'm hoping we also see some Toneel Carter. I know there was the rumored tweet that came out. I think the rumor was true, but he's basically not happy, and I don't blame him. The thing I'm shocked about, hats off to, again, the coaching staff for this, and the running back coach, that we haven't had anybody transfer out. Like, that is a thick running back room. And when we brought in and accepted Trey Watson, I was a little surprised because of all the fucking running backs we have. When you weren't redshirting Keontae Ingram, and we're like, we're going to keep Keontae Ingram. It's like, all right, well, you still had Kyle Porter, you still have Daniel Young, and you have Tennille Carter, and now you brought in Trey Watson, and then you still have, Kurt Johnson. You got a lot of fucking running backs that are all relatively good, and especially after last season when we were looking at Tennille Carter and Daniel Young and looking at those boys eat, like, yo, we might have somebody. And personally, if you asked me in the offseason before we got Trey Watson who our running back stable was, I was like, well, shit, I would have easily said Daniel Young, Tennille Carter, and Keontae Ingram can be peppered into the mix. I'm sure they would have figured out a place for Kyle Porter, but you got all of these guys now. None of them are redshirted, and you're sitting here trying to figure out how to play all these guys, and you're pissing them off. So I'm shocked they haven't left and transferred yet, but at the same time, it's a great problem to have that we have all of these running backs that are hungry to eat, and we're still pulling 200-plus rushing yard games out of a stable of running backs that are just touching the ball every now and again and wishing they were the featured back. So bravo to us that luckily if somebody gets hurt, we're set in running back, so I don't think we have to worry about that too much. But Sam running the ball is a positive thing. Offensive line blocking is a positive thing. Getting dubs is a positive thing. That all makes me happy. Now, one other thing that makes me happy, progressing out of this Texas-Tulsa game, so I won't be upset anymore, looking into other games that went on, nothing makes me happier than an Aggie lost, and they lost to Clemson. Now, here's the thing. I love an Aggie loss like the next Longhorn. But, man, listen, I'm going to give props when props are due. That Aggie team is a different Aggie team. I have never seen that Aggie team. I don't know who that is. That's a Jimbo Fisher team. Then bravo the fuck because they gave Clemson everything they wanted in life and so much more. So that was a hell of a battle, Aggies versus Clemson in that game. I'll say this about Jimbo Fisher. Great coach. Absolute great coach. I wonder if his success that he'll have this season is based off of the team that someone recruited, right? Because I look at Jimbo Fisher when he was with Florida State and I question and say, how good was Jimbo Fisher then? Jimbo Fisher was really good when he had Jameis Winston, and he was kind of okay when he had Pierre until Pierre got hurt. And then people were like, who that? Who is this? Like, the team wasn't there. And you kept eating ass. And even when you won the national championship, let's not forget, them Bamas was like damn near losing every game they won. They're winning games by 1 point and 3 points and down by a lot and squeaking by. Like, it was horrendous. But I question that, and the only time will tell how good he is on that. And I hope for Aggie's sake and how much money they dropped into that man that he's worth every dime and gives them everything they want in life. I hope they give them a lot of losses, because that just makes any Longhorn blunder, whatever you want to call it, that much sweeter when the Aggies have a loss. The other one, Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a huge win, 49-21. I just keep up with Oklahoma since I know we have to play them. That's a scary team, dude. That's a team firing all cylinders, and I don't want to say I'm calling that one a loss, but it's probably going to be a loss. Here's something none of you know about. There's something, the college I went to is the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor, and all of my friends know this because I've made sure to tell them a lot. But the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor, statistically, is the most winningest football program in the entire state of Texas. I will repeat that. The University of Mary Hardin-Baylor football program is the most winningest football program in the entire state of Texas, period. Why, you may ask? They had a football program that started in 92. They had 2 bad seasons and have never had a bad season since. They have won conference. I don't even know how many years in a row now it is. I'm assuming it's 16, 17 years in a row now they've won conference. It's absolutely mind-blowing how great of a team that is. But the reason I'm bringing them up, they won this weekend. They played against a school called Albright. They play somewhere. It's a Division III football school. The University of Maryland Baylor is also a Division III football. But they won 91-7, and I will repeat that. That is 9-1, which means one more number after 90, to 7. They had 9 rushing touchdowns, and 2 in the air. Mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. Great dub. Absolute great dub for the Crew, and their mascots are the Crusaders, so they even call them the Crew. But I had to give them a shout out. The other game that I watched this weekend, or saw highlights for this weekend, let me phrase that, is USC Stanford. Now, this brings me joy. USC lost to Stanford, and Stanford always gives USC problems. Like, that's their kryptonite. They cannot figure out Stanford for years and years and years and years and years. But anyway, that was a fun game to watch, to see the competition. So I say that going into, we're being that they're coming here. There's a lot in that game that makes me feel a little confident in Texas, but at the same time, going back to all the stuff that I mentioned earlier, I'm not kind of going into this game with a lot of confidence in the University of Texas, just because, again, I like to see through all the shit, which kind of starting to remind me, like, I see myself becoming this grumpy ass Texas fan who's just like never happy about shit, and I hated that about myself, but it's happening. So one thing before I get into this week's coming up games, Vince Young is going into the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame, which is absolutely amazing. I'm not even going to have to talk about it, because if you don't know why he's in the Hall of Fame, shoot yourself. But he's entering to the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame, and I think that is fantastic mojo and energy that the University of Texas needs, with USC coming to town this week. This week, of course, we play numbers at 7 o'clock. I think they're ranked 22 now in the nation, USC, and we need to give USC everything that they ask for and so much more. I don't know how that game's going to pan out, but we'll see. Another interesting game that's going on midday for those who give a shit. LSU is playing Auburn at 2:30. I think that should be an interesting game. The battle of the SEC and 2 ranked opponents, as well as TCU and Ohio State plays at the same time that Texas plays. So I will be having my phone out watching the TCU Ohio State game while at the UT versus USC game. It's going to be a hell of a time. So guys, we're getting to the end of the show here, but I want to let you know I will not have a show after the USC game, and I apologize for that. I actually have a work trip after the USC game on Saturday. I fly out at like 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and I will not be back till that following Friday. I might, pending on how I feel, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I don't get back till like 8 or 9. I was gonna say I'll try to do one on Friday. I won't. And then we play TCU in there, so I'm gonna try to loop together a TCU USC review. Hopefully it's 2 wins. My gut is telling me, in my pocketbook, if I had to put money on it, it's 2 losses. So that is the end of our show. Like I said, I won't have the show next week, but I will be at the UT USC game, turning up. I'll be in section 10 getting wow. My old man's coming into town, and he is a USC Trojan fanatic. So I have to deal with him this whole weekend. I might disown my father, but I love him dearly. I'm going to bring back in Iced Out. Y'all have yourselves a great week. And hey, let's go. Hook 'em horns, baby. Throw it up for your boy. And I am out.
You will not mess with the wave, ayy. I do not care what you say. Woo. Please watch the way you behave. Put some respect on the name. Look, we in the gym twice a day. Understand what I convey. Time for the chick, no delay. While you asleep, we awake. Ayy, put in the grind and the work. Woo. all of my dogs go berserk. Ayy, and you know we coming first. Ayy, just like the horns on the shirt. Oh, we coming back, I ain't stopping that till the day that we blow up. Flows on top of flows, Heisman with the pose. Tell the cam I need a close up. You should be afraid when you see the day all them horns just go up, go up, go up, go up. And bring it right back down. We be the talk of the town. I do not mess with you clowns. You will not win. From DKR to the dish, all the way up out of 6. Yeah, we commit 110%. We will not relent. We will not descend. We are not content till we champions. If it is always clean, you can handle it. You can handle it. All white, that's the ice out. Burnt orange, you know what they bout. Squad deep when we rolling out. They be jealous, they ain't got it now. Got the competition sweating. 5 on 2, what we rapping. On the field acting reckless, and I'm the one that sent a message. Ayy, I'm Snoop Roach with the cross, Cody Clemens with the sauce, McConaughey with the scenes, MLK with the dream, taking it to extremes. All the doubt and disbelief. We the team you wanna be, and this the show you wanna see, boy.